Okay, the brake pedal went to the floor, the brake light came on, walked around the back of the truck, and there's a puddle. Brake fluid coming from the area of the rear axle on the rear line. I knew about this potential issue last summer. Something came up, couldn't get at it. Here it is January. Got the truck up and we're going to rip it all out. There's a spot right there where it came through. There were others though that were close. A look at the line on the back, around the back axle. These two lines are really the easiest to replace. But we're going to be replacing the brake hoses as well, all the rear brake hoses, including the center hose. Because look at the center hose here where it fits into a bracket. And there's another line up front. I could not get this one apart. So that's coming out too, and we're going to put a kit in here, a preformed, pre-fitted line, so we'll start tearing it out and see how this turns out. See if a couple taps of our hammer will dislodge this from the holder. Yeah, there it goes. So right along the axle here is the point where the leak was. So we just pried this up from this side, and then the line comes out of there. So we're tearing everything out. Hoses, lines, we don't even have to take anything apart. The hose is apart, just unbolt it. And I'm taking out the banjo nut, and here with a 10mm wrench, taking out a bracket. The replacement kit will come with new brackets too. So once we just get everything unbolted, just pull it out. Same thing on the other side, the other rear, the left rear this is. And here's that middle hose. Take the breather out. I ran into trouble right here because this is a nut breather combination. It holds down that junction there where it goes left and right. And I just had a bear of a time. In retrospect, I should have just cut it right out of there. But I didn't really know where it was seized. I thought it was seized up in the axle. So I went in here with a 14mm, dreaming that that thing is going to come apart when there's not much left of the hex head anymore. That didn't work. But then I got to thinking, hey, screw extractor. You know, there's an opening in there. It's a breather. Let's see if we can get it out with a screw extractor. And that didn't work, so I added a wrench to it, a pipe wrench to it. Finally, here with the vice grips, you can see it actually make a move, make a turn. It's then that I realized that it actually is loose in the axle, but it's seized up, you know, to the brake hose itself. So we tore this apart, turned it out that way, and we'll get a new one. And it just turned out then from there. Once we shorten that hose up, spin it around, and get it out of there. Make sure you fill a hole like this if you don't leave it open for debris to fall in. Moving along upstream to this bracket between the center hose and the upstream tubing. We're going to be reusing that, so I'm going to take that out. And it's just a 15mm nut on the other side that needs to come out. Kind of clean it up a little bit. Hope for the best, and lo and behold, it did turn out pretty good. So now we'll have to get that bracket removed. Have to remove it from the line and the hose. Okay, a word about these guides or holders for the lines. I want to keep these in good shape because the lines that are going in are going to be exactly the same. So we want to get these out without breaking them. And I'm going to help myself a little bit by softening up the plastic. And to do that, I'm putting a blow dryer on here, some heat, soften it up, and then we'll spread these apart. I've got snap ring pliers here set up to spread and just separate them. There's 3 or 4 more of this type, so I'm carefully removing the line. Here's a look upstream further at another oddball fitting. Softened that up and pulled it out. Because the line really wasn't that bad going forward from here toward the proportional controller, but I could not get it apart. It's just solid, rusted solid, so that's coming out too. And here's a look downstream, because I'm going to try to pull this line back now in order to separate that bracket from the hose. And there's wire ties. I like to put things back the way they were, so I kind of keep track of where those wire ties are, zip ties are. And these little holders for the wiring that are on that center hose, the replacement will come with that. So let's give this a tug back and see if we can get it far enough back to get that bracket out of there. Also kind of determine which direction you want to install the new one. There it is, caught on a wire harness. So I'm just trying to get it back far enough. And it looks like pulling it toward the rear is not going to be the best way to take the old line out, or more importantly, put the new bent line in. And here's that bracket, which I'm going to preserve and use over. Just cutting it out. Okay, with this bracket in a vise, we can take off this fitting here. And then with a hammer and chisel, I'm going to work this clip off. There. So, it's definitely a way to pull a line out. I laid out all the pieces on the garage floor here so far, heading up toward the proportional controller. It's just this one last piece that has to come out now. And again, our holders, there's 3 or 4 of them in there. There's a shot of one of them. And some of these are a little odd and a little hard to pull apart, but softening them up with a blow dryer or something, some other type of heat will work. There's a close-up of it. From there, the line moves upward and to our right, heading up into the engine compartment. Now you can see the line down there coming along on a beam, and then it comes up right here and ends up right there at the proportional controller. Yeah, it's this one right here. It goes to the back. So this type right here, you got to kind of get it warm it up, get a screwdriver in there, pry it apart, and then the line can be popped out. It certainly helps to have the front wheel off, because then you can go through here and get this line loose. Okay, so we managed to get on this flare nut here with a 1/2-inch wrench and bust it loose. So to get this last one here, I wound up sticking a long screwdriver in here. This one was a pain. So now we can go back and let's see if we can pull this line out. Okay, so we cut the line off right here. See the piece? So now we'll just pull this out. So by pulling this line back and forth, working underneath and back above, we managed to pull it out. And that's the way it's going to go back in. So there's that last piece going up to the proportional controller. Okay, we tore out all the old lines, and coming up in part 2, installation of the new preformed, pre-fitted lines. So if you want to see how that goes, stay tuned. Thanks for watching.